Welcome everybody. We're going to start introducing the product, giving an overview of Records Manager and how it fits into the iManage platform.
We will start with that end user functionality. Currently, you can see I've launched iManage Work. I happen to be in the web client that we have showing the various documents that I've accessed. If I wanted to look for a particular matter, I've got the ability to click on matters, and let's say it's the Johnson lawsuit that I want. We'll go into the Johnson lawsuit. Here is all of the electronic folders that we have inside the iManage Work document management system. However, if it's the physical records that I want to look at, here is the View Records button that Ian mentioned. As I click on that, it takes me into the records management system, and now I have the ability to look at all of the physical records that are associated with the Johnson lawsuit. As you know, all of the electronic content is there in the document management system, so there's no need to show it again here in this records view. We're just looking at the physical content. Somebody asked a question about the electronic renditions. Notice that in the engagement file, you can see that we have an electronic rendition available there. And then also for the CD of evidence, we have an electronic rendition available there. So it tells us that we've got electronic versions of the physical content, and they may want to look inside of the document management system to see that instead of spending the money to retrieve the box from offsite storage. From here, I've got the ability to request files. I can request a delivery request here. It'll pop up the dialog box, and I've got the ability to provide some instructions, priority to this, and then actually send my request off to the record staff to have them pull this file off the shelf and then deliver it to me. I can take a look at boxes that we have available in the system. You can see all of the boxes here. We talked about the dashboards earlier. Any requests that I have made that have not been delivered yet will be available here. And then we can also see all the checked out items that I have sitting in my office somewhere. I can see those available here. So this is the end user web client. As I'm browsing around inside of iManage Work, I can actually move on to the physical records and see that information, and then I can actually go back to iManage Work and look at the electronic content. So that's that very tight, seamless integration between the document management system and the records management system. Let's move on now to what the records managers may be interested in. This is our desktop client for records managers, and this is a very rich interface that will provide a lot of functionality to those records managers around the file plan, around searching and reporting, around retention scheduling, and legal holds. I'm going to start in the records interface here. We're looking at the file plan that you see here, so you can see a list of all of the clients that we have. If I wanted to search for a particular matter, I'll look for Ford Motor Company, look for that particular client. And now here are the matters that are available for Ford Motor Company. We'll focus primarily on the Johnson lawsuit. But what I wanted to point out is that there's properties at every level of the system. And you can see here at the Larry Johnson lawsuit, matter 1000, I have the ability to put a retention schedule on the matter. We can take information like practice area, open date, close date, responsible attorney, office and department. We can take all of that information from an integration with our time and billing system or matter management systems to populate this information from those other systems. Let's drill down into the Johnson lawsuit, and now we'll take a look at all of the files that exist for the Johnson lawsuit. At the top here, you can see the worksite workspace. Below that, you can see a physical jacket. If we take a look at the worksite workspace and look at the properties of that, you can see that we have a retention schedule that we've put on the workspace itself. If we look at the physical file here called jacket, you can see that we have a retention schedule that we've put on the physical jacket as well. So we have electronic and physical information existing side by side, and they can all have retention schedules on them so that we can begin to manage the life cycle of that. Not only are we looking at the electronic content from the worksite workspace, but you also have Windows file share. So here is our file share that we call the ZDrive. And if we we look at the properties on that, you'll see a retention schedule, just like on the other electronic and physical records that we have. Right? You might see different workspaces in here. In this case, there's more than one workspace. We do have the ability to rely on single interface to manage multiple libraries. So for example, if the Johnson lawsuit is available in a library in EMEA, a library in Australia, maybe a separate library in London, and then one in the United States, all of those libraries are going to come here into one place for a records manager to manage. A very tight integration on that electronic records piece means that they don't have to go to multiple places to manage the life cycle of all of that electronic content. That's a very big feature and one that we want to make sure that we point out. So let's look at that workspace. You'll see those electronic folders that we have. Here's an electronic folder called Attorney Notes. If we look at the properties on that, you'll see the retention schedule on that folder. Let's look at the information inside of that particular electronic folder. Now we're seeing all of the electronic documents. You're seeing Word documents and PDFs, our cross-examination notes. This document actually happens to have been destroyed. One of the most important parts about electronic records management is having that audit trail available for defensible disposition. And that's exactly what you'll see here. This cross-examination notes has been destroyed. We can tell you exactly at what date and time the individual approved it based on these rules. And then at this particular date and time, this individual actually destroyed the record based on these particular sets of rules. So that defensible disposition is very, very important. Not only is it available on the electronic content, but of course that physical content as well. One of the things that Ian wanted me to show was the ability to create retention schedules and kind of see how that retention schedule can work with the electronic content. We've shown you how you can be exposed to all that electronic content. Now what we want to do is create a retention schedule that has a particular flair for the electronic record. So I'm going to create a retention schedule called ED, and I'm going to highlight the electronic content. You can give it any name that you want. Notice we've got spell check. I have a problem talking and typing at the same time, so thank God for the spell check. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some events here in this retention schedule. The first one that I'm going to choose is the ability to declare electronic documents. So you'll see declare a final version as a record, and I can destroy all undeclared versions, or I can simply declare all versions in a workspace and then have that done. In this case, we'll declare all versions as a workspace, in the workspace. Then what I want to do is I want to have an approval process. So we're going to approve for destruction 7 years after the matter closes. Once it's approved, we actually want to go ahead and destroy that. So let's look for the ability to destroy the content 7 years after the matter closes. And inside of iManage Records Manager, we have the ability to destroy the record inside of iManage Work and leave a metadata stub of that inside of IRMs for that defensible disposition. After that content has been around a while, well, we may want to be able to permanently destroy that electronic metadata item. And so we have the ability to do that as well. Here in this case, we'll say destroy 8 years after matter close. So at 7 years, we're going to destroy the actual Word document from the document management system. At 8 years, we're going to actually destroy that metadata stub that lives inside of Records Manager. So it will be as if nothing existed at all. Poof, it was gone. It never existed. There's no record of that particular content at all. No metadata, no Word document, it's gone. Okay, and that's how we're going to create a retention schedule that will allow us to manage electronic content and the stubs metadata of the electronic content as well. Last thing to show is the ability to keep track of electronic holds or litigation holds. So here we have a list of all of the holds available in our system, and you can put holds on at any level of the system. That might be at the client level, at the matter level, or at the individual document level. And once you put a hold on a document, that prevents it from moving forward in the disposition until that hold is removed. And of course, you've got the ability to place multiple holds on various content, clients, or matters inside of our system.